Good evening, it's Kuro. Got a Summers replay, taking a look at the matchmaking threats to the ship. You do have a Buffalo for radar, Smolensk if you get spotted, Shima and Z-23. Z-23 is not much of a threat to your ship, so mainly just the Shimakaze. The map's Okinawa, 3-cap domination, and kicking this thing off looks like you're pushing out towards A-cap. Let's start out and take a look, see what we got flag-wise. Looks like dead flag, speed flag, both fire flags, flood flag, and shorter consumables. So all in all, you got a pretty good lineup of flags there. Okay, get an early spot on the enemy Montana. Not sure how that guy spotted, if he took a shot or what.
Enemy force detected.
That's a pretty long way to be spotted. Okay, I'm not fond of this turn in the cap, and the reason why is these islands here. If you don't slow down here, you're basically going to get into a situation where, you know, all the way through this period, if the Buffalo happens to push up here, he can radar this cap from behind this island, and there's nothing you can really do about that. And if you're up here, you can really take a lot of damage from in here, or if, say, the Smolensk smokes up over here, you can really take a pounding here. So I would tend to try to stay away from this sort of area in the cap. And I'm assuming that you want to try to go after these Montanas, and if so, what I would do is come in like a little bit further south, like right around here, and then just make a tight turn right back out. So I'm pointed back out this way, and what I would do is, you know, I would put my torpedo indicator on them, and I kind of watch to see what they're doing, and basically they're going to go undetected behind this island. But ships that get undetected, they tend to sail in straight lines at full speed, and particularly if they can't shoot at anything. So this would be one way that you could set a nice wide set of torps right through this gap, that you might be able to catch them as they're pushing up into this area. So let's take a look at what you do. Yeah, you're crossing over in front of the islands. That's risky because the enemy knows, you know, where at least one of you are. Okay, now notice as you sail north, this channel that was nice and wide is reducing narrower and narrower, so you're not getting nearly as much of an opening to get this wide spread through here. And the reason why you want a wide spread rather than a tight spread is because this is a low probability drop, but you get your torpedoes out in the water here, and I'm assuming you want to go north to try to hunt these guys, so you might as well get your torpedoes off, and then basically on your move up north, I would go this way around the islands, but on your move north, you would be able to get your torps most of the way reloaded again, and it would be a way to you know, get probably 1.5 sets of torps out within the same amount of time frame. So it looks like you're just foregoing early torps at all. Again, need to be careful because you don't know what's up here. Okay, let's take a look at your team. Your team's being a potato. Particularly your Akazuki's being a potato because your entire enemy team's pushing C. What's he doing up here at B? So, need to think about this. You're probably going to lose this Mogami because he's going to get spotted and he can't turn out. Okay. RPF Torps at the DD. It would have to be the DD that far up. I wouldn't do it. It would either be the Z-23 or the Shimakaze, and these are really low probability torps, and they're low probability because one, you know, as soon as he got spotted, now he's turning out now. But two, you launched him without really knowing where he was going and how fast he was going. And you know, minute 33 for your torpedoes. That's a lot of time to wait when your primary targets are right here. Usually these sorts of engagements, I don't even waste my time with my torps. It's all about the guns. Get the shots out. Keep it up. He's smoking. You don't need to smoke. I think you could have got one more shot in there. Be aggressive about shooting. Even if you miss, I probably would have taken 3 shots here. One when he popped up briefly, and then another one just randomly, you know, somewhere over here, expecting him to continue the turn out. The reason why that's a good move, it's free shots. The Shimakaze smoked up, so nothing can spot you. Any damage that you get on this guy puts you that much further ahead of the Shimakaze in the trade.
Torpedoes astern.
Is that Shimakaze? Yeah, those are Shimakaze torps. Guess I got torp the island with this set. There you go. Now see, if you had your torpedoes right now, you could be pushing up here and you would be in good shape to get some pretty decent torps off here. I would hit my B key, hit B, and then you can, you know, put your cursor right on the Kurfürst, tell him to get back. That's how I try to solve this sort of situation, because you don't know what's up there. You see how many ships popped up there. He's in trouble. So this would be the Montana I would be looking at. He's broadside to you.
Boost activated.
You would already have torps off if you didn't throw torps at the Shima. But I would get them off now. Get them up. Okay. This one's a good lesson. The Montana, he's moving past an island that's going to restrict his movements. If he runs aground, he runs aground basically broadside to your Kurfürst, and that's a recipe for death. So even though his indicator is probably out here, this island's going to prevent him from making the turn out. So basically that leaves his only options of slamming on the brakes, which I doubt he wants to do that close to the Kurfürst, or turning in, which still probably not the best idea because that's going to open up even more of his broadside to the Kurfürst. So, and not to mention the Massachusetts down here. So this is a really spicy torpedo shot right now. So I'd already have the fish out in the water. You're plenty close enough. you know, get it done, because if your Kurfürst goes down, he starts to lose some of this pressure holding him up. Okay, there's one. This is a rough call because you've got torpedoes in the water. I would probably still smoke up and try to get damage on the Shimakaze to try to lock in that really good trade right now, but I think your Kurfürst is dead. Oh, Monty shot your broadsiding Salem. Yeah, Shima got the torps off. Yeah. Okay, that shot was... Alright, that's where you want to aim for a ship that's pushing into you. A little bit longer on your sight picture. Make sure you get a good sight picture, because that first shot matters quite a bit. If you break a gun, break his engine... Want to see shots on the reload. Shots on the reload. Good hits. There you go. Now, take a look. You're starting to do it right now, but you just took a pretty good hit. You were showing a lot of broadside to the Montanas back here. This is the sort of angle that you want to take. By taking this sort of angle, this Montana, remember the way dispersion works. Dispersion spreads your shots out pretty wide on the horizontal plane, but stacks tightly on the vertical. So, if you're broadside, they've got more shells just through natural dispersion that can hit your ship. If you turn away, since battleship AP pins are no longer a thing, your ship will take less hits by angling away like this. So what I would do is, Summers has kind of a long reload, you know, angle away, take all 4 turrets, shoot, and then angle away sharp enough just so your front turrets just barely come off the Shimakaze, and then that means that on the reload you're a really small target, and then just before your guns are reloaded, come back, get all your guns back on target, and then snap off that full shot again. So yeah, you're kind of doing it right now. Yep, there you go. Just got to work on that aim a little bit. There you go. Yeah, Shimakaze's slowing down right now. There you go, good hits.
Enemy destroyer sunk.
Okay.
Engine boost deactivated.
Now you got some decision-making time. Your team is being blasted. You do have two caps, but I'm pretty sure this game's gonna be a loss already. You got 2 options here. You have this Montana here, this Montana here. Which one do you want to go after? And I would make the call to come back here and go after this Montana, even though he's a little bit further away. And the reason being, this one being broadside, if this Massachusetts lands even just, you know, one solid volley on this Montana, he can really lop off a lot of that HP, and then you're kind of left in the situation where you're just dealing with scraps. But what needs to happen here, these Montanas are spreading out, and the further they spread out, the more of a crossfire your Massachusetts and, I don't even know how the hell to say that, Albemarle, whatever, their goose is gonna get cooked eventually. So it's really important to get this crossfire, you know, broken. And I mean, you could come up here, but I kind of expect this this Montana to take a big hit and then angle in. And then once that happens, you basically are going to have to try to ride the map border to get a good torpedo target. And why specifically I say that that's not an ideal solution is you probably launch your torps from somewhere up in here. And when that happens, look how far you are from the rest of the cap, or rest of the map. So if you come here, even though it's a little bit longer, you torp this this Monty, he's probably going to push this gap right here. So you get over here and you can get a nice clean torpedo shot on him from outside this island. And then at that point, just go south. So, by the way you're turning, I think you're taking the north one. Yeah, this Montana's definitely going for... He's either going the gap here or he's going here. Okay, the reason why I don't like these torps and why I said that you would probably want to be torping up here. This Montana, okay, you just heard your Massachusetts shoot. He's gonna, if has two functioning brain cells, he's gonna turn into angle. When that happens, these torps might miss, but he's also headed to the map border, and usually right around within a grid square, you have a lot of people that will just start turning regardless of what, you know, they need to do, just to avoid the map border. So a little iffy on these torpedoes. We'll see what happens here. Notice you're only 11 kilometers here, and that crossfire got your Massachusetts. Looks like he got deleted by somebody, and yeah, without that Massachusetts there, he doesn't have anything else to shoot at. He just turns in and your torpedoes are gone. I still think that it's a better option to work on these ships over here. They're going to be the ones capping A, and I mean, it's two for the price of one out here. So yeah, there's no radar up here. You need to, yeah, push in like this. You need to see where those guys are at to get shots off. Oh boy, your cruiser shot. I don't think your Albies is gonna last long. He's got showing just enough angle that, or he's got just enough angle that he's in trouble as far as crossfire. So I would not torp through this gap. Come out here and get a good torpedo volley off. Montana's kiting away right now. Another option here would be target this battleship as he goes through this channel, because he's gonna follow his battleship buddy right through here, almost guaranteed. I would have taken a look at the Montana to see if I could get the torps off, and the reason for that, okay, the reason for that is the Montana is kiting away. Don't step on the cap. Don't step on the cap. There's so many points. There's no reason to step on the cap. But as soon as this cap flips, this Montana can just bail, and that's why I didn't like these torps. Yeah, you might hit one or the other, but That's kind of a little rough here. The torps are looking good. And yeah, those torps wouldn't have worked. That Montana may have turned out because you stepped on the cap, but you know, good torps on the Montana. Don't be afraid to use your F3 key. Call priority target on these guys. Okay, getting some flood damage on the Montana. Now, I don't like this coming back north because, okay, Summers is a torpedo boat. So you want to be ahead of the enemy push. So you take a look, all of your teams, all your supports down here, I realize that the game's pretty much over. But by coming up here, you're gonna chase a Montana. I mean, points aren't anywhere near close enough where you need to start worrying about, you know, jumping all over, you know, the caps. You've got plenty of time. I mean, right now, over 6 minutes that you have before, you know, before you lose on points. So you've got time. What I would prefer to see you do is swing down here and see if you can bait one of these guys. Maybe you can get some torps off on the Albie, or you know, the Montana. Another solid option would be smoking up and just gunning the Albie while your cruisers spot. So it looks like you might get the kill on that Montana. Okay. Well, he died. But I know you want to try to get ACAP again. You need to understand that the game's lost, and really what your team needs more than a cap is kills. And now with everything running away from you, it's gonna get harder and harder. Now what I would do here, I'd actually shoot this Albie. He's running away, and your cruisers need some of this firepower taken off him. That Montana is just sitting back there, you know, stealth firing at him. You know, try to make this guy look at you. They're shooting AP. If this Albie's guns are okay. The Albie's guns are pointed this way, so if you shot at him, there's a high probability that he would turn around to look at you really quick with his guns to try to take a shot. If your cruisers have AP loaded, that's a dead cruiser. He'll just be showing so much broadside to the enemy, or to your ally, that it's you know, a really, it's good teamwork. It gets some of the HEs, it gets some of the, you know, shell spam off of your cruisers for, you know, a few seconds. You've got the HP to tank it. There's really no reason why I wouldn't want to try to do this. Okay, important to note, the Donskoy spotted the Montana. Regardless, he knows that you're in cap, so I would expect some sort of move here. So what I would try to do, a lot of battleship players like to run priority target on their battleship builds. For the they try to use it as an early torpedo warning. What I would try to do, I'd look at this guy with my guns and I'd switch back and forth between guns and torps a few times, and I'd be watching the torp indicator and see what this guy does. If he, you know, tries to turn or something like that and commits, you might be able to get a good torpedo shot on this guy where his rudder's locked over. Another option would be the Albie, because actually I'd do these cruisers. Look, they're bottling themselves up here against this island.
depends upon you.
Okay, they know where you're at now. I think I would have tried to spread that out a little more. I think this battleship's gonna turn as soon as he hits the cap. Particularly if you're in it. Yeah, he's turning already. Yeah, that's why I do the priority target games. Try to bait a guy into turning so he's feeling more safe and he's less likely to turn again because he thinks that torpedoes were just dropped on him. At this point, the game's over. I mean, I generally won't sit here and lose on points at this rate. I would just start gunboating. Well, you do get some XP here out of the Z-23. There you go.
Engine boost deactivated.
Good job getting narrow. Good job getting narrow. You got to work on that shot where enemy DD is bow into you turning out. You keep missing that shot. Good hits. Slow up. Your speed's been pretty consistent. You can slam on your brakes, and a lot of these shots from the supporting ships will go right over you. So don't be afraid of that. Okay. Well, all in all, I consider that game a fail team. There's not really much you can do when your entire southern flank just gets obliterated. Some of the things that the major things were, I just felt that your torps were kind of out of sync with what I saw as priority targets versus what you were dropping on. Um, one of your drops did work out pretty well. Um, Maybe better than the drop that I would have suggested, but again, you had also stepped on the cap, which might have forced that one battleship to spooked him into not coming into the cap. Um, so the things that I want to see you working on is that one shot that's really killing you with these destroyers when they're bow into you, coming at you, and they do that a little turnout. You're really having a hard time leading that. And take take the H in my name as the bow of the ship. When you see the ship turn like this, uh, you still want to lead to a little bit to the outside. And the reason for that is the ship will drift a little bit in a hard turn. Some destroyers more than others, but if you notice, you just kept missing to the side of them, and it's one of those shots that it takes you a while to figure it out, but once you get that shot, I mean, it's brutal every time a DD makes that turn against you. You're hammering them. You know, that's usually the heaviest hitting volley that I see in my games, where I've had 4+ K volleys with HE on the Japanese DDs just by seeing that shot and hitting it. Um, so definitely work on that one, and try to work some more situational awareness with the mini map. Think about things like how the map border is going to affect torpedo targets, um, and think about your position in relation to the rest of the map. If an enemy ship is sailing way out there, up like that northernmost Montana was doing, he kind of takes himself out of the picture if you have stuff that's rushing through choke points into the cap, and then also by coming south sooner, you would be able to pick up the get in front of the south push and be able to farm that as well. And I mean, they had a Tirpitz there that pushed right through B cap that would have been pretty attractive for you. Plus, you would have been able to beat up on the Z-23. That would have been another real XP boon. Um, but all in all, pretty solid game. Um, those are the kind of areas where I really saw kind of jumped out at me. Um, if you have any questions or comments, let me know. Hope you're having a good night, and I will talk to you later.